Again, we moved into what I'm going to call, and the word is important, dualistic thinking. Dualistic thinking is when you see everything in terms of binaries, either or. And you have to choose one side and damn the other side. Now, I probably am talking about this in the right city, all right? Because our present Congress is known for this. It's the nadir of Western thinking, where you just cannot deal with paradox, deal with mystery, deal with subtlety, deal with any kind of integration. It's always taking sides. It's a win-lose scenario. Well, if we can build on that, what the contemplative learns to do is wait for win-win. Now that takes training and that takes practice, where you don't choose sides. You say, by the grace of God, and it surely is by the grace of God, it is what it is. And how can I be present to it in a loving way? Without labeling it, categorizing it, damning it, excluding it, omitting it. And brothers and sisters, the humiliation that most of us have to face is that this is the way most of us think. It's the normal functioning mind of the Western person. It's almost all we have left. And we confused education, and who am I to speak of this in a university town and capital city? But we confused education with transformation. And you can be a highly educated person, 3 PhDs if you want, and still be a total dualistic thinker. And you will not be able to harmonize people. You will not be a peacemaker in reality, because you will not be at peace inside your own mind and your own heart. And so early stage contemplation is on the very practical level teaching you what to do with this racing, obsessive mind. Now, I don't want to offend anybody, but you all have one, all right? The mind needs a job. It wants to feel useful and important. And in fact, I could even say, I'm probably going to sound like an anti-intellectual Franciscan, but I mean it, the more you're educated, the more of a problem you have. The more unlearning you have to do. I think very simple people, agrarian people, often have much easier access to contemplation than we do. For us, at this point in history and in the West, it's largely a matter of unlearning. Now, another word for that, by the way, is conversion. All right? And your preachers have told you the very Greek word metanoia means literally to change your mind. Change your way of processing the moment. Change your way of receiving reality. And it takes years of practice to learn how to do that, especially if by nature you are an argumentative person, a person who likes to feel that they're right or superior to others or smarter or holier than others. You got a problem, because you're always going to frame reality in your own favor. That's why we have things like racism, sexism, homophobia, classism lasting 2,000 years after the incarnation of God in Christ. That his own people have not, in many ways, learned to think at any higher level than anybody else. And you know that's true. It's a humiliation for us to admit it, but what I want to say in these few minutes is, I don't think it's that people are malicious or ill-willed or bad. We just haven't been teaching this for 500 years, I'll say. Even in contemplative communities, and that's what the Trappists and the Poor Clares and the Carmelites taught me. We don't even know this anymore. We don't know how to stop and to dissociate from this obsessive, compulsive mind that every one of us has. Let me tell you something. Most thinking is not deserving of the word thinking. It's a narcissistic reaction to the moment. It is. Watch yourself. Don't believe me. Watch yourself. Some of you right now are probably not liking what I'm saying. There's the evidence that we need to be contrary. We need to oppose. We need to judge ourselves higher, better, smarter, holier. That's the problem. Brothers and sisters, you'll never come to unitive experience with God, which is the whole goal of our religion. You just went to communion. But it's much easier, I'm afraid to say, to go to sacramental communion than to experience communion in your mind and your heart and your body even before you walk up here. And then your chances of really entering into sacramental communion are considerably higher, because this whole control mechanism is not taking control, and you don't give it control, but it takes years of practice. And for those of us who've never even been taught this, we all are beginners, and who of us is not a beginner in the spiritual life?